Pro boxing fans, we are here in Riyadh. It is fight week. And with me, I've got somebody who's been around Dmitry Bivol for a good while now in Taylor Ramsdell, someone who's been the coach in that corner for a good amount of time. First of all, Taylor, how are you? How are you finding Riyadh, first of all?
It's great. I'm just overall grateful for Riyadh, just making all this stuff happen.
Yeah, let's give out that big shout out to Taylor Sheikh and Riyadh season, because without this influence, I don't think this fight would have ever happened. We've talked about our political stance in the past, and it's been messy, let's put it that way. But we're finally here. First of all, Taylor, I want to go back a good couple of years. Okay. Talk to me. How did you get into the sport? How this great sport that we're in, how did you get into it?
So I grew up in sports my whole life, and then I started training. So we'll just jump to my work career. I started training in 2003. I was doing that off and on while I was trying to kind of figure out what I was going to do for a living. I'd always go back and do that because it was kind of the fun thing I did. And then eventually I changed my way of thinking and decided that instead of not doing what I did for fun and making it work, I was like, why not do what I think is fun for work? So I turned it into a career. That was when I really hit it hard, was in 2009. I moved to Los Angeles, opened a gym, started training out of a house, expanded to a small studio, expanded to a bigger gym, and then expanded to another one. And through that time, in the beginning was 2009. Okay. And in 2009 was whenever I first started working in combat sports. And so that was MMA and boxing. It was MMA for, gosh, I don't really remember, only a couple months or so before the first boxer came. And the first boxer came was Zach Woolman. He was a Freddie Roach and Eric Brown protege from Wildcard Boxing, and he was just getting ready to go pro. So he was my first guy. His manager was actually Russian-American, lived in Los Angeles, Steve Bash. And so then it was just kind of word of mouth, and it was snowball. They were successful, enjoyed it. Managers see, other boxers see, just continue to grow. MMA as well. Okay,
so then from that point, talk to me about your first interaction then, or the first meeting that you had with Dmitry and the team.
With Dmitry, that was so I started in the pro fighting then, and it was about, it was 2017 when Dmitry and I first met. I think it was maybe middle of 2017. It was before the Agnew fight. Okay. So it was one fight before Trent Broadhurst when he sealed the deal for the belt. Yeah. And that interaction is another trainer sent him to me. Okay. And then whenever we started training, we just never stopped.
Interesting. I do want to ask you then, obviously want to go past and keep on this theme of us being in 2017, 2018 onwards. At one point, did you feel like all the pieces of Bivol's attributes finally got together and you saw it in that fight? What was that one fight that you could think of that you thought, wow, okay, this is the one where we feel like everything's got together?
That's an interesting question. Never been asked that question before. I like new questions.
Thank you.
So good job. It's not there's one moment that all the pieces come together. It's almost like the pieces are all there, and every single camp it just becomes more, I don't even want to say more together, but a stronger hold, if we're using the jigsaw puzzle metaphor. You know what I mean? It's like he's always been a put-together puzzle. He's always had all the parts, but it's like every camp, it's like, we've taken that puzzle and then we've glazed over it. Then we super glued it. Then now we have a nice layer, so now it's just really solid. I will say that a great starting fight when I was, coming on the team, because it was right before he had the belt, it would have been his 11th or 12th fight. It was Sullivan Barrera at Madison Square Garden. And that fight was cool because now he's got more eyes on him because after he beat Trent Broadhurst in Monaco, and he had the belt. And it was a great fight, because he had a lump on his head in like the 6th or 7th round, 8th round, something like that, and it could have been gone, but he was definitely winning the fight. So it was, an edge of your seat thing, and then it went all the way into the 12th round where he could have just won it, but he pushed the pace and he got the knockout in the 12th round.
One thing I do want to say about that, I can remember talking to Sullivan back in the day, and at that point where he fought Dmitry, he had only lost to Andre Ward at that point, and he fought Joe Smith Jr., Felix Valera at that point, where good valid candidates. Jeff Lacey was probably a little bit late in his career, but that was a great fight with Sullivan. But we move on.
He was a great fighter.
He was a great
fighter.
Tough fighter.
Yeah,
tough fighter.
100%.
Move on. We get an Isaac Chilemba fight, who we know in the UK as well. John Pascal. This resume is fantastic. By the way.
Yeah, no, they're great. They're great.
Joe Smith Jr. Just talk to me about how Dmitry sort of transitioned into different type of styles, different type of fights at different places.
So, his style stays the same. Just like just a name you mentioned, Isaac Chilemba. Let's just use him for example. Isaac Chilemba is always going to show up as him. Well, I don't know his certain case. I see other boxers. Like, for example, this Saturday, Dmitry Bivol is going to be Dmitry Bivol. Artur Beterbiev is going to be Artur Beterbiev. So styles stay the same. I just think that I can only speak on our team, is that he just elevates each time. Like I told him just the other day, and I mean it, because I don't BS anybody. This is the best I've ever seen him.
Okay.
And that's all around. So he just gets better. Style doesn't change; it just improves. It just, for us. I mean, other people change styles, but for Bivol, it's the same style. It's just getting better and better.
I do want to talk about the last couple of fights that have been in Riyadh. Malik Zinad, obviously, he was only put in because the Artur fight was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
I'm glad that was great. He stepped up. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a fight. He stepped up and made it happen.
And before that, obviously, Lyndon Arthur. Now, in regards to the Lyndon Arthur fight, and I'll tell you from what social media was at the time, there was a little bit of underwhelming with that performance. It seemed to be a little bit more, not tough, but it seemed to take Dmitry a little bit longer to not even work things out, but just to get the win. From that point onwards, what was the sort of stance in camp with Dmitry? Was it just something that we just had to get done?
Well, the Lyndon Arthur fight, that was coming off of some time off, and it was getting back in the ring. That wasn't sparring. That was more than just sparring, but. And there's no disrespect at all. It was a full respect. Took that very, very seriously. Like in the fight, it was coming back after some time off, and it was honing in and making sure you come in at 100% to get the fight or to get the win, while also working on different things. And just having time off. That was all that was. And I think he did great. I know that it's entertainment and fans want. What they want. I'm also a fan. Like I want to see blood. But at the same time, we win. A win's a win. We want to win the fight, and we keep winning. So however you get to that win, that's what you got to do.
Obviously, I've skipped too far ahead, but the Canelo performance, I do want to talk about that one. That's the one that I feel like, when it comes to getting Dimitri's name out to beyond the hardcore fans, was that Canelo performance on how he won it and who he won it against. At that point in camp and with the team, how was Dmitry? And was it the case that, look, from this point onwards, we've got the world at our feet?
Yeah, I don't want to say we have the world at our feet. I mean, that's just because that sounds so. That's not really our team style, but. I will say because I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I knew he was going to win that fight. Okay. I woke up, I found out that of course we knew it was in the workings, but I woke up in Uzbekistan from a nap and opened up my Instagram thing, and I saw a thing. I came downstairs like, we got the fight. That was it. And then we flew and we did the camp out in California. I knew we were going to win that fight. And that's not ego, that's not cocky, that's just confidence. Because, first of all, Canelo is Canelo, and we're talking about Canelo right now because he's great. He's an icon. There's a reason why he's the shot caller, because he's earned that spot. When it comes to Canelo and Bivol will always win that fight. And, and I'm not naive. I look at all these things, and I fully have full confidence in my fighter, but we look at all this stuff, and we train properly for it. I mean, even knew that he was going to try to take his arm out, after the fight. He's like, my arm is sore. I knew that, so. And it goes to the other side. I know that, I don't know, but I know opponents, they also know what they're going to try to do. It's just that night, Bivol won. And then to answer your question about having the world at our feet, we just knew that was a great opportunity for many more eyes to see Bivol, because that was our 10th fight together. Okay, that was our 10th fight together. So that means it was, what title defense was that? I don't know. It was many. 8, 9, the 8 title defense. I'm not sure. It was many. But everybody knew who Canelo was, but like, who do you train? Dmitry Bivol, who's that? I'm like, oh, 8-time world champion. Or you're looking at the numbers, I'm not sure. But we knew that was a great opportunity to be seen by many, many people. So grateful for Canelo to give him the opportunity, and then we just kept rocking and rolling after that.
Let's talk about the task at hand on Saturday night. Artur Beterbiev, a fighter that we've known in the UK because he fought one of our own in Anthony Yarde, so we got to see him a lot more up close and personal. And in that fight, he went through a little sign of adversity, but then came on top and broke Anthony Yarde down to get the win. For you, in regards to his style and especially the cutting of the ring, where he uses his feet well and his power well, what do you feel like he brings to the table on Saturday night in regards to his skill set, his attributes?
He's a great fighter. He's got all the other belts. What everybody knows, he's 20-0, 20 knockouts. The different styles make it a very interesting fight. A lot of people say it's, a puncher versus boxer, but Beterbiev knows how to box. I mean, he's 20-0. Yeah, he has the knockouts, but like, he gets those knockouts by building up and getting to him, And Bivol also has power. Over half his wins are by knockout. So but they're not the same. Very different styles. But to say what he brings to the table, the opponent, what Beterbiev brings to the table is he's a champion. He's an undefeated champion. So he brings a lot. So our job is to do more, I won't say a plan, but to take away what he's trying to do and to do what we're trying to do.
Is the power a massive cause of concern, though? Because obviously it seems like he does, we've seen through his record, you can look at his record and his past fights, that he does get there eventually. Even if it takes him to the 12th round to hurt his opponent, he does get there. Is that the power a cause for concern? Do you feel like his power does slow down opponents, so that's why he can get the finish?
I mean, it slowed down 20 of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, to get knocked out, you got to get hit. And there's nothing that's of any like massive concern. It's just that, of course, we know he has power. So how do you deal with that? Is that you make sure that you move and make sure your defense is up and make sure you control what you can control. This isn't like the slap thing where there's just exchanging hits. You know what I mean? That would be more of a concern on both sides. But this is boxing. It's not it's not a power punch. It's everything. That's also what I was saying with him. Like, he's not just a power puncher. He's also got a great boxing IQ and got great skills, like you were saying. Cutting off the ring, all this stuff. So it's a chess game of two killers. These guys are legit. You know what I mean? But it's a true chess game. It's not just going to be, Bivol in and out the whole time. It's not just going to be Beterbiev coming and swinging, haymakers, because that's not what either one of them do. It's going to be a very interesting chess game between two very interesting killers.
I do want to ask you, and ask Mark Ramsey the same question, who's the trainer of Artur. In regards to the Soviet style that obviously Dmitry holds, and one that we're fascinated with in the UK because we don't get to see as much. I asked him, how much has Artur seen of this, or how much has Artur thought of this? He goes, listen, in the amateurs, that's what he fought. Yeah. And in regards to facing a style like this, that's what he knows. He's from this area. I want to ask you the same question, though, in regards to Artur's style. How much has Dmitry seen of it, and how much can you prepare for it?
I don't really have a straight answer for that, or a direct answer, because his style is similar to others. I mean, it's come forward. Every fighter is different. Every fighter is different, and I know that's not a very interesting answer, but you could have two, Soviet style boxers, and it's gonna be different, because like a jab is a jab, but a different person's gonna throw it a little bit differently at a different time. from a different direction, from a different angle. So, yeah.
All right, last one on this fight.
Yeah.
What different scenarios? I know you're Team Bivol and whatever,
Yeah,
but
of course.
in your head, what different scenarios can you see happening in this fight?
What was the question?
What different scenarios can you see happening in this fight?
Well, the one that I want to see and the one that I see happening is Dmitry Bivol using his skills, using his condition, using his ability to drown the opponent throughout the whole fight, continue to do what he does best. And how long it goes, does it go the distance, I don't like to make predictions on that, but I want, and I have full confidence that Dmitry Bivol is going to do what he does best and he's going to control the fight.